Yo, what's up guys, my name's BearTheBoff, or Bear, whatever you want to call me, and in today's video I want to talk about everything we know relating to Borderlands 3 at this point in time, and the possibility of Borderlands 3 being at E3 this year. Now there have been a lot of things which point towards the idea of Borderlands 3 being an actual thing and, you know, shown some point in the near future, and it's been a much talked about topic in the community for a very long time now, especially considering how long it's been since Borderlands 2 was released and since Borderlands pre-sequel was released. Now E3 being one of, if not the biggest gaming event each year, it would make sense for them to show something then, if they do indeed plan to, and if they did, it would be fucking special. It's something that a lot of people really want to happen, including myself, and I know we don't, as fans, we don't want them to rush it, we don't want them to just push it out as quick as they can, but at the same time it's something that we've been just aching for so bad. As I said, there are multiple things that point towards this happening. Now before creating this video, when I was thinking about this whole topic, I was sure I remembered a long time ago Randy Pitchford announcing fully that Borderlands 3 was in development, but now looking back through articles and stuff, I can't seem to find any reference to the tweet, even though all the points that I'm going to bring up in this video are pretty much 99% confirmed to any Borderlands fan that this is indeed happening. So if we go back all the way to April 2016, Randy tweeted saying that Battleborn art director Scott Kester is moving on to the next Borderlands project, which, I mean, there straight away kind of points out to you that, you know, it's happening. This, I guess, pretty much confirms that Borderlands 3 is actually a definite thing, not to mention the fact that they are taking, you know, some of the team out of Battleborn and onto Borderlands. As we all know, Battleborn didn't do very well at the time it was released, and Battleborn's creative director even confirmed that the game would have its last update and no further development would be done on the game. No DLCs, no, you know, patches, nothing else would be done to the game. It's just that's what it's going to sit at now. So with no work needing to be done on that, it makes sense that they would use a lot of the staff and a lot of the team to work on the next Borderlands project. Now if we go forward a year as well to April 2017, we have a tweet from Randy showing a picture of him dressed in a way that he describes it may or may not be a psycho bandit in a game we may or may not be working on. Now I don't know about you, but that pretty much tells me that's Borderlands, and I don't even have to explain this when he says Psycho Bandit. What's the first thing that pops into your head? Exactly. This just points more towards the idea of Borderlands 3 being a real thing and being a real idea that they've got and thing that they're working on. Now also in 2017, when Randy was on a panel at PAX West, he himself said that 90% of the Gearbox team are working on the thing I think most of you guys want us to be working on. Now if you ask any Gearbox fan what they want to see in the future from that company, the vast majority will say Borderlands 3. The fact as well that 90% of the team are working on the project really shows that they're putting a hell of a lot of effort into this and they really want to make it the best it can be, especially being as how successful Borderlands 2 was. I know pre-sequel wasn't as successful, it wasn't as good as fans wanted it to be, but with how much success Borderlands 2 had, they really want to, you know, do as much as they can to push the bar up and to really make this one even better. He has also said that the next game in the series will be more like a full sequel rather than a pre-sequel, which I'm pretty sure is going to make a lot of fans happy, because a lot of people just want, you know, the next entry into the series. They want the next chapter in the story and to see what's going to happen next. And Gearbox themselves are also hiring a writer for an unannounced AAA FPS RPG hybrid, with the successful candidate needing a love of comedy writing. Now this just screams Borderlands 3. Nothing else to say about that. That just screams Borderlands 3. Now another thing which got a lot of people talking was a tweet that Randy replied to earlier this year, where he told someone that he was going to put a flamethrower that they were talking about in a tweet into the next Borderlands game, as well as saying that they could actually write the red flavour text for the gun themselves if they wanted to. And not only does this confirm again even more that Borderlands 3 is happening, but shows us cool ways they are going to like implement community driven stuff. Now hopefully this as well is pointing at the fact Gearbox are being more and more community driven with ideas and thoughts from the players and fans, which they do a lot anyway, so if they're going to go more and more into this, it's just more all the better. Now as well as all these things that I've brought up that show the idea of Borderlands 3 happening and actually being a real thing, people have also been finding clues as to what the direction the next Borderlands game's going in. So as we mentioned previously, Battleborn will not be receiving any more DLC in the future or patches or anything like that. But if we look into one of the DLCs that was released, called Atticus and Thrall Rebellion, behind on a gate that you can get to in one of the levels, you can see something on the wall. Now when closer inspected, you can see that it says Promethea with a Vault logo next to it. It's quite hard to make out, but it definitely is visible, it definitely is there. So what does this mean and what does this show us? Well, in the Borderlands world, Promethea was the planet that the company Atlas from the first game went to and scavenged for loads of alien technology to be able to create weaponry and starships and loads of different things. Now there is obviously a reason Gearbox is showing us this, and even though the reason isn't clear and we can't exactly point out why they're doing this, we can do our best to make assumptions and predict where they are going with this. Now I think the most obvious is that Gearbox are trying to tell us that in the next game there is going to be interplanetary travel, and we're going to be traveling to other planets, and at least off of Pandora and Elpis, because they're the only two places we've been to. And not only this, but if you look at the ending to Borderlands 2, which, spoiler warning for anyone who for some reason hasn't completed it yet, which if you haven't, you really need to. When we defeat Handsome Jack at the ending, and the ending plays, we see a map of some sort showing lots of, if not all, the different locations of the vaults across the many different planets, which points more towards the idea of interplanetary travel. And if we listen to what Lilith says at the end when she says,
"You know what that means."
Yeah. No rest for the wicked.
Pretty sure that points out the fact that we're going to be going to get these vaults. Now the concept as well of having many different vaults with different enemies and bosses and different planet environments, that's just so amazing and so exciting to think about. Like the amount of ideas and possibilities you go with that, especially the Borderlands world. It's so vast, and it would be amazing for them to do that. Now with this Easter egg as well, it could be pointing at an Atlas return, considering they were only really in the first Borderlands, and along with them, the Iridian alien type enemies. It just made sense to me, especially if we were going to be travelling to different planets which they could have been to or been from. There is honestly so much we can take from just this little Easter egg in Battleborn. Going with the theme of my last point, we are getting more into the territory of theories and ideas rather than actual facts that Gearbox have, put out. So I wanted to go into what characters I think are going to be the main cast for Borderlands and what we expect to see as the playable characters for Borderlands 3. In terms of characters for Borderlands 3, there really is no direct indication as to who we could be playing as or who we could be seeing as our main playable characters. In my opinion though, and this is purely my opinion, my thoughts and my hopes for who we will be seeing, I would love to see the cast of Tales from the Borderlands make an appearance as some of the playable characters, or if not, at least have some sort of role in the game. This is especially the case if we take into consideration my last point and also the ending to Tales from the Borderlands. Again, this is a spoiler for you guys who haven't played or finished it, and again, if you haven't, go and do so, it's amazing. But if we take a look at the ending, we see Reese and Fiona make it into the vault, and when they touch the sort of stone treasure waiting, the screen flashes, and when it reappears, they're both gone. Now I guess there are multiple different things that could have happened to them, but if I had to make a guess myself, I would say that they've been teleported somewhere else completely, and perhaps a different planet completely. Now this is where my last point comes into this. If we're going to be travelling to different planets, I feel this would be an awesome route, and a route that makes sense to take the game with. So let me set the scene basically. So Reese and Fiona get teleported and they end up on a different planet. Let's say, for instance, that planet turns out to be Promethea, which we already know to be a planet where Atlas went to develop weaponry and starships. They then go about figuring out how to travel to different planets and find different weaponry and just a bunch of different things. The story could go in so many different directions for here. Now I'm not saying this is exactly how it would go if this did happen, but this is just kind of an idea which I've been thinking about and a really cool direction for the series to go in. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail in here because I do want to talk about this idea more in another video, but these are just the ideas I've had with this, and there are obviously flaws in this idea, like where would the past games come into play and the characters and other things that have happened in the past. How would that be brought into this? And I know there was things that would go against this, but like I say, this is just some of the ideas I've came up with and just some of the things that made sense to me, and when putting different pieces that we've been given together, this is what I've come up with. Also off topic, Tiny Tina needs to be a playable character. The last thing I want to bring up, and this is something that came up actually while I was creating this video, and this is the reason now I really think and hope Borderlands 3 will be at E3. Basically, a couple of days ago, Walmart Canada accidentally put up on their site a list of games which customers were allowed to pre-order. Only problem is, some of these games haven't actually been announced yet, including games like Gears of War 5, Forza 5, and most importantly, of course, Borderlands 3. Now, with only a month to go until E3, where all the unannounced games will be revealed, this brings up the question, and what most people have been speculating is this an accidental reveal of what we're going to be seeing at E3? Obviously this isn't 100%, so we can't say for definite it is, but at the same time we can't just disregard it and say it's not, especially considering some of the games are games that people are really hoping for and expecting to see at E3. And the fact that it's Walmart as well, if this was some random website with unknown sources and it's just, rumours going around, it would be a lot easier to just call bullshit on it. But with it being Walmart, it's a lot more believable. Now again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I do want to make a full video on this and talk about all the other games released as well, but I thought it was definitely worth mentioning. Only other thing I can really bring up relating to this and Borderlands 3 is that someone on Twitter did actually tweet about this, saying if people thought it was real and what people's thoughts were about it, and Randy Pitchford himself actually did reply saying no. But let's be honest, of course he's going to deny it. Like, what developer, especially the CEO and president of the company, is going to be like, oh yeah, these leaks, yeah, they're true. All this shit, yeah, true. Or you've got... It's not going to happen, is it? Of course not. It's one of them. It's like you don't know if it is, you don't know if it isn't. It's hard to tell. And to be honest, I have no idea. He might be being serious. He might just be not. He might be lying just to, bring up hype and people think, oh, it's not. And then when it is released, if it is, or announced, that people will be more surprised, but we literally do not have a clue. All we can do is really wait and see and wait and find out what happens. And yeah guys, that about does it for the video. Sorry if it seemed like I was rambling on and I was just kept going on about certain things, but I just wanted to get everything out there and I wanted to explain to you guys fully and so you guys understood what point I was bringing up, and you know, just let you guys know everything there is to know in terms of Borderlands 3 and the chances of it being at E3 this year. Like I said previously, I honestly don't know, and no one will until E3. All we can do is hope and pray that we do see it and it gets a release date and it's close and it'll be the best thing ever. But you know, when does that actually happen? Me myself though, and I think I speak for a lot of Borderlands fans here, as long as we see something relating to Borderlands 3, just anything, a trailer, a symbol saying soon, or just whatever, as long as we see something, I'll be happy and I'll be pleased that something has happened, and I'll be satisfied with Gearbox for E3 with that. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments, ideas, theories, you know, do you think it'll be at E3, do you not? If you do, why? If you don't, again, why not? And just let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah guys, I'll catch you in the next one.